Right now, at this very moment, the world is moving faster than your comfort zone. Technology is not waiting for your permission. Markets are not slowing down so you can catch your breath. And 2026 is not coming politely. It's coming like a tidal wave. The real question is not what is changing. The real question is, will you be a victim of disruption, or will you become the one who uses disruption to dominate your life, your business, and your future? Because history has already shown us this truth. Those who fail to adapt don't just fall behind, they get erased. If you want to win in 2026, you must understand something most people never do. Change itself is not the enemy. The enemy is resisting change. Every breakthrough in human history has come from those who learned how to move with disruption instead of fighting it. Right now, industries are being reinvented overnight. Artificial intelligence, automation, decentralized finance, remote work, and digital influence are not future trends. They are present realities. And the speed at which these realities are evolving is exponential. If you try to keep up using old strategies, old thinking, and old habits, you will feel overwhelmed, anxious, and powerless. But if you learn how to master the pace of change, suddenly the chaos becomes opportunity. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The world doesn't reward effort anymore. It rewards adaptability. You can work harder than ever and still lose if you're working on the wrong things. In 2026, success will belong to those who can learn faster, decide faster, and execute faster than the environment changes around them. That doesn't mean running around like a maniac. It means creating an internal system that allows you to respond instead of react. Reaction is emotional. Response is intelligent. Reaction keeps you stuck. Response puts you in control. Think about this. Every time there's massive disruption, there are two groups of people. One group says this is unfair, this is too much, this is happening too fast. And the other group says, how do I use this? Same event, same world, same disruption, completely different outcomes. The difference is not intelligence, luck, or resources. The difference is mindset and strategy. The people who master change don't wait for clarity, they create it. They don't wait for confidence, they build it through action. To master the pace of change, you must first master your identity. Most people see themselves based on who they were. But in a fast-moving world, your past identity can become your biggest limitation. If you define yourself by old titles, old skills, or old successes, you will subconsciously resist anything that threatens that identity. But if you define yourself as a learner, an adapter, a problem solver, then change becomes fuel. Suddenly, every disruption is not a threat. It's feedback. It's information. It's a signal telling you where the future is going. Another critical piece is understanding that speed creates fear only when you feel unprepared. When people say everything is changing so fast, what they're really saying is, I don't feel ready. Readiness doesn't come from predicting the future perfectly. It comes from building flexibility. In 2026, flexibility will be more valuable than any single skill. The ability to pivot, to experiment, to test, and to adjust quickly will separate the leaders from the followers. You don't need to know exactly where the road ends. You just need to be moving while others are frozen. Mastering change also means making decisions faster than your doubts. Most people don't fail because they choose wrong. They fail because they choose too late. Indecision is a decision, and it's usually the worst one. The world is rewarding those who are willing to act, gather feedback, and course correct in real time. Perfection is slow, progress is fast, and speed creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates results. You must also recognize that change will test your emotional fitness. There will be uncertainty. There will be moments where the rules seem unclear. This is where most people panic, but leaders train themselves to stay centered in chaos. They don't need certainty in the environment because they create certainty inside themselves. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. And they know that no matter what changes, their ability to learn, adapt, and take action remains intact. That internal certainty becomes their anchor while the world shifts around them. One of the most powerful strategies to master change is to shorten your learning curve. Instead of trying to figure everything out on your own, you model those who are already adapting successfully. You study patterns. You ask better questions. You invest in knowledge, skills, and proximity to people who are already playing the game at the next level. Time is the one resource you can't replace, so borrowing experience becomes a massive advantage. In 2026, those who learn in isolation will fall behind those who learn in communities and ecosystems of growth. Finally, mastering. The pace of change requires courage. The courage to let go of what no longer serves you. Old business models, old routines, old beliefs about what's safe. Safety is an illusion in a rapidly evolving world. Growth is the only real security. When you commit to growth, change no longer controls you. You control your response to it. You stop asking, what if this doesn't work? And start asking, what if this works better than anything I've done before? If you can master this one principle, if you can move faster internally than the world moves externally, you will not just survive 2026, you will thrive in it. You will lead while others hesitate. You will see opportunity where others see fear. And most importantly, you will never be left behind because you've trained yourself to stay ahead of the curve, no matter how fast it moves. If there is one brutal truth about 2026 that most people are trying to ignore, it's this. Skills expire faster than ever before. What made you valuable 5 years ago may already be irrelevant today, and what makes you valuable today may not protect you tomorrow. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up. Because the people who thrive in times of disruption are not the most talented, they are the most upgradable. And the people who suffer are not lazy, they are often loyal to skills that no longer serve the future. In the past, you could learn one profession, master one craft, and ride it for decades. Those days are gone. The world of 2026 rewards versatility, learning speed, and relevance. Companies are no longer asking, how long have you done this? They're asking, can you solve today's problems? And those problems are changing at lightning speed. Automation is replacing routine tasks. Artificial intelligence is amplifying human capability. Entire job categories are shrinking while new ones are being created overnight. If you don't consciously upgrade your skills, the marketplace will downgrade your value without asking your permission. Here's what most people get wrong. They think upgrading skills means going back to school, getting another degree, or starting from zero. That's not true. Skill upgrading is about stacking, not restarting. It's about taking what you already know and enhancing it with what the future demands. A marketer who understands data and AI becomes unstoppable. A teacher who understands digital platforms expands their reach beyond classrooms. A business owner who understands automation gains leverage instead of burnout. The future doesn't erase your past, it builds on it if you're willing to evolve. Obsolescence doesn't happen suddenly. It happens quietly. First, opportunities slow down. Then income plateaus. Then confidence drops. Then people start blaming the economy, technology, or younger generations. But the real issue is rarely external. It's internal resistance to learning something new. The human brain loves certainty. It loves familiarity. And upgrading skills requires stepping back into discomfort where you are no longer the expert. That's where ego gets involved. People would rather stay competent and visible than become a beginner and grow. But growth has always required humility. In 2026, learning is no longer optional. It's survival, but not all learning is equal. Random learning creates noise. Strategic learning creates power. The winners of the next decade will be those who focus on skills that multiply results. Communication, problem solving, emotional intelligence, adaptability, technological fluency, and decision-making under uncertainty. These are not trends, they are timeless leverage points amplified by modern tools. Technology doesn't replace humans who think, lead, and connect. It replaces humans who repeat. Another critical shift is understanding that information is everywhere, but mastery is rare. Anyone can watch videos, read posts, or consume content. Very few people turn knowledge into conditioning. Skill upgrading is not about what you know. It's about what you can do under pressure, in real time, when it matters. That requires practice, application, and feedback. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your training. And in a disruptive world, training must be continuous. There is also a psychological component most people overlook. When you upgrade your skills, you upgrade your identity. You stop seeing yourself as replaceable and start seeing yourself as resourceful. That shift alone changes how you walk into rooms, how you negotiate, how you take risks, and how you respond to uncertainty. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you earn by proving to yourself that you can adapt. Every new skill becomes evidence that you are not stuck. You are evolving. People often say, I don't have time to learn, but the truth is you don't have time not to learn. The time you refuse to invest today will cost you years tomorrow. Learning is no longer a phase of life, it's a lifestyle. And the most successful people don't learn when they are desperate. They learn when they are ahead. They don't wait for disruption to force change. They anticipate it and prepare in advance. That preparation becomes their unfair advantage. Upgrading skills also changes how you experience fear. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loses control over you. When you know you can learn whatever is required, uncertainty becomes less threatening. You stop clinging to one role, one income stream, one identity. You become dynamic, flexible, anti-fragile. And that is the ultimate security in a world that refuses to stand still. There's one more truth that separates high performers from everyone else. They invest in themselves even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when results are not immediate. They understand that skills compound. One new ability can unlock 10 new opportunities. One upgrade can change your entire trajectory. And in 2026, the gap between those who upgrade and those who stagnate will not be small, it will be massive. So this is the question you must answer honestly. Are you building skills for the world that was, or for the world that is becoming? Because the future does not negotiate, it does not wait, and it does not reward nostalgia. But it does reward those who are willing to grow faster than circumstances, learn faster than disruption, and reinvent themselves before the world forces them to. Upgrade your skills, and you don't just stay relevant, you become irreplaceable. In a world moving as fast as 2026, the greatest battle you will fight is not against technology, the economy, or competition. It is against fear. Fear disguised as stress. Fear disguised as distraction. Fear disguised as overthinking. We are living in an age where information travels instantly, but certainty has become rare. News cycles are designed to trigger emotion. Social media magnifies comparison. Algorithms reward outrage. And if you don't consciously take control of why, our psychology, the world will program you into anxiety, hesitation, and self-doubt. Here's the truth. External chaos only has power over you if there is internal chaos. Two people can face the same uncertainty. One collapses, the other rises. The difference is not circumstances, it's emotional mastery. Leaders in disruptive times don't have less fear, they have better tools to manage it. They understand that fear is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to prepare, focus, and move forward with intelligence. Your psychology is the lens through which you experience reality. When that lens is clouded by fear, everything looks like a threat. Every change feels personal. Every setback feels permanent. But when your psychology is strong, the same events become neutral data, information to be used, feedback to be applied. This is why controlling your internal state is not a luxury in 2026. It is a necessity. You cannot make powerful decisions from a powerless emotional state. Most people believe fear comes from the future. That's not true. Fear comes from loss of control in the present. When you don't know what to do next, your brain fills the gap with worst-case scenarios. The solution is not to predict the future perfectly. It's to create certainty through action. Motion creates emotion. When you move your body, focus your mind, and take decisive steps, your nervous system shifts. You go from panic to power, from reaction to response. This is why rituals matter more than motivation. Motivation is inconsistent. Emotional conditioning is reliable. High performers don't wait to feel ready. They train their physiology, focus, and language daily so that when uncertainty hits, they don't collapse, they activate. They ask better questions. Instead of what if this goes wrong, they ask what's the opportunity here? Instead of why is this happening to me, they ask how is this happening for me? Those questions change the brain's chemistry instantly. In 2026, fear will be sold aggressively. Fear gets clicks. Fear gets attention. Fear keeps people controllable. If you consume fear without a filter, you will internalize it. That's why emotional hygiene is as important as physical hygiene. What you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with, and how you talk to yourself all shape your emotional baseline. You cannot live in a fearful environment and expect a fearless mindset by accident. You must design it deliberately. Another critical truth is that fear often hides behind busyness. People stay distracted to avoid feeling uncertain. They scroll, multitask, and overload themselves with noise so they don't have to sit with uncomfortable thoughts. But avoidance doesn't eliminate fear. It strengthens it. Mastery comes from facing uncertainty head-on and proving to yourself that you can handle it. Every time you do something difficult, your identity expands. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as capable. Control your psycholo. GUI also means reclaiming your focus. Focus is power. Whatever you focus on grows in your emotional experience. If you focus on what you can't control, you feel weak. If you focus on what you can control, your actions, your standards, your preparation, you feel strong. Disruptive times reward those who narrow their focus, simplify their goals, and execute relentlessly on what matters most. Clarity beats complexity every time. One of the most dangerous emotional traps is comparison. In a connected world, you are constantly exposed to other people's highlight reels. This can distort reality and make you feel behind, inadequate, or late. But comparison kills momentum. The only meaningful comparison is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Progress, not perfection, is what builds confidence. And confidence is not arrogance, it's certainty in your ability to figure things out. Fear also thrives when values are unclear. When you don't know what you stand for, every disruption shakes you. But when your values are clear, decisions become simpler. You may not know the outcome, but you know the direction. That direction gives you emotional stability even when results are uncertain. People with strong values don't panic. They prioritize. They don't freeze. They commit. There will be moments in 2026 where you feel overwhelmed. That's human. The difference is what you do in those moments. Do you collapse into old patterns, or do you use tools to reset your state? Breathing, movement, focus, gratitude, purpose. These are not cliches. They are neurological levers. When used consistently, they rewire your stress response and turn pressure into fuel. Ultimately, controlling your psychology is about leadership. Leadership of your thoughts, leadership of your emotions, leadership of your actions. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead others, opportunities, or outcomes. The future will not be dominated by the smartest people. It will be dominated by the most emotionally fit. Those who can stay calm in chaos, decisive in uncertainty, and optimistic without being naive. Fear will always be present in times of disruption, but it does not have to be your master. When you train your mind, condition your emotions, and choose empowering meanings, fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign. And in 2026, the people who rise will not be those who avoided fear, but those who learned how to use it as a catalyst for strength, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Technology is not the enemy, but if you don't understand, if you don't leverage it, it will feel like one. Every major disruption in history has followed the same pattern. Those who adopt early gain power, those who resist feel threatened, and those who ignore get replaced. In 2026, technology is not just a tool, it is a force multiplier. It can either magnify your impact or expose your limitations. The difference is not the technology itself. The difference is how you choose to use it. Most people look at technology through the lens of fear. They ask, what jobs will be lost? What will AI replace? How do I compete with machines? But high performers ask a different question. How do I partner with this? Because technology doesn't eliminate value. It shifts where value is created. It removes the need for repetition and increases the demand for creativity, leadership, judgment, and emotional intelligence. The people who win are not those who try to outwork machines, but those who use machines to amplify what only humans can do. In 2026, leverage is everything. Leverage of time, leverage of energy, leverage of skills. Technology gives you leverage at a scale that was once impossible. One person with the right tools can now do the work of 10, reach the audience of millions, and operate globally without a physical office. That level of power was once reserved for corporations. Today, it's available to individuals if they're willing to learn and adapt. The danger is not automation. The danger is staying manual in an automated world. If you insist on doing everything yourself, you will burn out while others scale effortlessly. Technology exists to free you from low-value tasks so you can focus on high-value decisions. The moment you stop seeing technology as a threat and start seeing it as a teammate, your entire strategy changes. You stop asking how to survive and start asking how to scale. But leverage without direction creates chaos. That's why intention matters. Technology will magnify who you already are. If you are clear, focused, and disciplined, it will multiply your results. If you are scattered and reactive, it will multiply your overwhelm. Tools don't create success, standards do. You must decide what you want technology to do for you instead of letting it dictate your behavior. Otherwise, you become busy instead of effective. Another critical shift is understanding that technology accelerates feedback. Mistakes happen faster, results show up sooner. This can be uncomfortable for people who are afraid of being wrong. But feedback is not failure, it's data. The faster you get feedback, the faster you can adjust. And the faster you adjust, the faster you grow. In 2026, speed of learning will matter more than initial expertise. Technology also democratizes opportunity. Gatekeepers are disappearing. You no longer need permission to create, publish, sell, or lead. Platforms allow you to share ideas, build communities, and create value at scale. But with that freedom comes responsibility. The same tools that can elevate you can also distract you. Consumption without creation leads to stagnation. Power comes from using technology intentionally, not passively. There's also a deeper layer most people ignore. Technology reflects mindset. People who feel powerless become overwhelmed by tools. People who feel powerful turn tools into allies. If you believe technology is taking something from you, you'll resist it. If you believe technology is giving you reach, efficiency, and insight, you'll embrace it. Belief drives behavior. Behavior drives results. In 2026, the most dangerous position is neutrality. You can't sit on the sidelines and wait to see how things play out. By the time it's clear, the advantage is gone. Early adopters don't wait for certainty. They create it by experimenting. They test small, learn fast, and iterate quickly. You don't need to master everything. You need to master the mindset of continuous integration. One tool at a time, one system at a time. Progress beats paralysis. Technology also changes how influence works. Authority no longer comes from titles, it comes from value. Those who educate, solve problems, and create clarity will lead. Technology gives you a voice, but it doesn't give you a message. You must decide what you stand for and how you want to serve. When purpose meets technology, impact explodes. Ultimately, technology is a mirror. It reflects your willingness to grow. It exposes where you are unwilling to change, but it also offers you a choice to expand your reach, reclaim your time, and multiply your contribution. In 2026, the people who thrive will not be those who feared the machine, but those who learned how to command it. Leverage technology not to replace yourself, but to elevate yourself. When you do, disruption stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you use to build a bigger, stronger, more meaningful future. In a world that changes by the hour, certainty has become the rarest currency. Markets shift, technology evolves, rules rewrite themselves overnight. And when everything outside of you feels unstable, most people search desperately for something to hold on to. But the highest performers don't look outward for certainty, they build it inward. Because real certainty is not about predicting outcomes, it's about trusting who you are no matter what happens. The problem for most people in 2026 is not lack of opportunity, it's lack of grounding. When you don't know what you stand for, every disruption shakes you, every opinion sways you, every setback feels personal. But when your values are clear, decisions become simpler even when outcomes are uncertain. Values act like an internal compass. They don't tell you exactly where the road ends, but they always point you in the right direction. Vision is the next layer of certainty. Without vision, disruption feels like chaos. With vision, disruption becomes direction. Vision is not a fantasy, it's a filter. It helps you decide what to say yes to and, more importantly, what to say no to. In 2026, distraction will be everywhere. Opportunities will be endless, but not all of them will be aligned. Vision protects your energy. It keeps you from chasing noise instead of building momentum. Most people think certainty comes from having a perfect plan. It doesn't. Plans will change. What creates certainty is commitment. When you commit, your brain starts looking for solutions instead of excuses. You stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership. Decisive action builds emotional strength. Every time you follow through on a decision, you reinforce trust in yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Action is the bridge between intention and certainty. You cannot think your way into confidence. You must act your way into it. In uncertain times, small, consistent actions are more powerful than massive, delayed ones. Momentum doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from doing something. And once momentum starts, clarity follows. The fog lifts when you move. One of the greatest traps in disruptive times is hesitation disguised as preparation. People say they are researching, waiting for the right time, or getting ready. but often they are avoiding the discomfort of commitment. Growth always demands a price. Uncertainty, vulnerability, effort. Leaders pay that price willingly because they understand the cost of inaction is far greater. Values give you standards. Vision gives you direction. Action gives you certainty. Together they form an unshakable foundation. When you operate from this foundation, you don't need approval to move forward. You don't need guarantees to begin. You become adaptable without being lost, flexible without being fragile. In 2026, the people who rise will not be those with the best predictions, but those with the strongest inner framework. They will make decisions faster because they know their priorities. They will recover quicker because their identity is not tied to outcomes. They will lead confidently because their sense of self is not negotiable. This inner certainty also changes how you influence others. People are drawn to those who are grounded. In chaotic times, certainty is contagious. When you are calm, clear, and decisive, others feel safer following you. Leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about holding the emotional space where progress can happen. There will be moments when things don't work out. That's inevitable. Certainty doesn't mean things always go your way. It means you trust yourself to adapt, learn, and move forward regardless of the result. Failure stops being an identity and becomes an event. Feedback, not judgment. After, not the story. Ultimately, the greatest disruption of 2026 will not be technological. It will be personal. The disruption of old identities, old beliefs, and old limits. And those who embrace that internal shift will not just survive external change, they will shape it. When your values are clear, your vision is compelling, and your actions are decisive, the future loses its power to intimidate you. You stop reacting to the world and start leading within it. And that is how certainty is built, not by controlling the world, but by mastering yourself in the middle of it.